Ganapataye Namo Namaha Gam Ganapataye Namo Namaha Omega Dantaya Vidmahi Vakrajundaya Dhimahi Tanno Danti Prachodayat Gam Ganapataye Sakala Vigna Karadura Hamare Jai Ganesha Gananatha Dayaniti Sakala Vigna Karadura Hamare Gam Ganapataye Namo Namaha 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 Om Vakratundaya Mahakaya Suryakoti Samaprabha Nirvigyam Kuru Me Deva Sarva Karyeshu Sarvada Gam Ganapataye Namo Namaha 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 Jai Ganesha Gananatha Dayaniti Sakala Vigna Karadura Hamare Jai Ganesha Gananatha Dayaniti Sakala Vigna Karadura Hamare Gam Ganapataye Namo Namaha 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 Suklam Bharadram Vishnu Satsang Sarvavignopashantam Ganapataye Namo Namaha Ganapataye Namo Namaha Ganapataye Namo Namaha Ganapataye Namo Namaha Jai Ganesha Gananatha Dayaniti Sakala Vignakara Dura Hamari Jai Ganesha Gananatha Dayaniti Sakala Vignakara Dura Hamari Namo Namaha Ganapataye Namo Namaha Ganapataye Namo Namaha Ganapataye Namo
Namaste.
Namaste.
Welcome to our weekly online satsang. Satsang being a Sanskrit word that means community of truth, literally, but really any time a spiritual community gathers of two or more people who are on the path of awakening and the flowering of the heart, you've got a satsang. So the Flowering Heart satsang includes people from different spiritual teachers, teachings, belief systems, religious backgrounds, different parts of the world. What we have in common is awakening and the flowering of our hearts with divine consciousness and pure, unconditional love. And that's what the world needs now, for sure. And when the world is going to shift from this madness of competition, conflict, and war into the new earth of cooperation, harmony, and peace, that will happen when the collective consciousness of humanity itself shifts. And with each one of us that consents to the journey of awakening, ripples are going out into the collective, and we're getting closer and closer to where that shift will happen. Which is, I think, probably an explanation for why so much crazy stuff is going on Earth at this time. It's part of the birthing process of our new humanity out of the old. And so it's very important that we gather together like this and share energy and send blessings to each other and to the world. Throughout these webcasts, we're sharing the Flowering Heart Blessing, which is a direct transmission of divine presence, of enlightened consciousness, of pure divine love and grace. It's a gift from the divine source. The divine told us 8 years ago, when it was given to me and Suzanne to begin to share, that this blessing, tell people, the divine said, does not filter through an avatar or a master or a saint or an organization or any kind of hierarchy. It comes directly from source. And I give it to whomsoever I will as a gift of grace. Grace means it's freely given in love. So the divine said, don't charge for it. Give it to anyone who wants it. Don't charge for it. And for those that want to become instruments of this grace, blessing givers of the Flowering Heart blessing, tell them that once they've received it once from me, they've become initiated and activated to be able to share it with others. So we took the divine at its word, and things have been going splendidly for the last 8 years. It's really wonderful. We've been involved with many different types of spiritual blessing, of energy transmission for decades. Me, because I'm older than Suzanne, over 50 years, but decades for her too. And this one is very special because it goes right to the heart of the spiritual journey, which is the center of our being, and causes our connection with our true divine essence to begin to activate and radiate and flower from within. As it turns out, what we've been looking for has been us all along. Our true self is divine, it is the divine, and it is the essence of enlightenment. So many of us spend a lot of time going places around the world, going to India, going to various temples and places of power to be in the darshan of great awakened beings, and we might have, for a while, missed the point that the outer world is a reflection of the inner world, and any light, any grace that we experienced in those places of power, shining through the faces of saints or enlightened beings, was a mirror reflecting to us what's inside of us, our true self. And the Flowering Heart blessing cuts through a lot of red tape and goes right to the heart and begins to awaken our own true divine essence within, and it begins to flower and radiate from the center outward through the spiritual layers of our being, bringing illumination, awakening, through the soul layers of thought and emotion and programming, clearing the mind field and bringing inspired insights and right thinking, radiating out through our physical layers, bringing healing and transformation to our physical bodies, shining out into our relationships, setting them right and bringing healing to them, and out through our lives into the world so that we're lighthouses, literally shining the light of transformation everywhere we go. So please join us in sharing the Flowering Heart blessing here tonight. Just invite the divine to pour the blessing through you to all who are with us tonight and all that will be viewing this video down the road. And there's a lot more information on our website, floweringheart.org. If you'd like to know more, feel free to go there and peruse that. This coming Sunday is our monthly interfaith communion with the Cosmic Christ. You don't have to believe anything in particular or belong to anything. You certainly don't have to consider yourself a Christian. Many people have a connection with the Cosmic Christ these days and with Christ consciousness. It's blossoming all over the place through various heart-centered paths like Sufism, like Mahayana Buddhism, like many of the various groups that many of us have been a part of. The Self-Realization Fellowship, Christ Consciousness, and the Cosmic Christ are a big part of their tradition. So we've opened the door for anyone of any faith or lack thereof to come and share in the magnificent presence of the Cosmic Christ, which is an aspect of the divine itself. If we invoke Mother Kali, there's a certain presence, there's a certain flavor to the presence of Kali. If we invoke Vishnu, it's a different flavor of the one divine source. And the presence of the Christ is pure, pure, unconditional love, mercy, and healing. And if you're interested, you can join us this coming Sunday, August 27th at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. And it's streamed live here on Facebook Live, on Vimeo, on LinkedIn, on YouTube. You can find it somewhere. But if you found your way either to Vimeo this evening or to our page on Facebook Live, this is where it'll be Sunday morning. We'd love to have you with us. And if you happen to be in Clearwater, Florida on Sunday, you can come right to Flowering Heart Center. Our doors are open and people join us for the communion with the Cosmic Christ each month. We'd love to have you here as well if you can.
11 to 12:30.
Indeed. And if you can't make it then, online or in person, the recording will be up permanently. So you can drop in any time and watch it. These monthly communions with the Cosmic Christ have been phenomenal.
Yes.
Yeah, all along, but lately they just seem to be getting more and more graced. So feel free to drop in. We also have Satsang every Wednesday night, not online, but here at our center, Flowering Heart Center in Clearwater. And we would just love to have you come and join us one of these Wednesday evenings. We share blessings, we have crystal bowl meditations, we do various guided meditations and just share our journeys with each other, our breakthroughs, our insights. It's lovely. If you would, and you're here, or you drop into one of these satsang recordings on, of course this is live now, give us a like or a love if you're on our page at Facebook, a thumbs up or a heart. If you're on Vimeo, you can just enter in the chat, "Hi, I'm here," and tell us your name, because sometimes we only see a screen name and then we're not sure who it was actually. But that way we can go in after we're done tonight and in the days ahead and see who joined with us, and we send you special hugs and blessings. So what we like to do is open it up at this point to questions and answers about the spiritual journey, about awakening, about God realization, meditation, previous lives, afterlives, inner lives, anything you've got on your mind. We just pitch it up to the divine, and the divine pours down inspiration and clarity and light that we can share all together. So look inside and see if there's a question lingering there. Joanne entered one, which I'll come back to first, but I'm going to read some quotes to give you time to check and see if you have any questions inside. I get these quotes almost every week lately from a website, inspiringquotes.com. And this week, the article and the quotes were gathered together by Megan Neal. She is an Inspiring Quotes editor, a cat lover, and coast hopper, living in Brooklyn, New York. And her article this week, is that correct? Yeah, Megan Neal. So the article that Megan is sharing is 14 acceptance quotes for inner peace. Acceptance is a powerful tool that can help us achieve our goals, live a better life, and find a sense of peace within ourselves. By recognizing the reality of ourselves and the world around us, we can create an environment of understanding, compassion, and growth. Often misunderstood, acceptance does not have to mean that we support or condone things that aren't how we wish they were. Acceptance and support are two distinct concepts. The first is about understanding our reality, while the second provides active assistance. That said, acceptance isn't passive. On the contrary, it can be quite difficult. But it's only once we see things as they truly are that we can begin to make meaningful change. Acknowledging and internalizing difficult truths gives us an informed position from which to take powerful action. Acceptance allows us to open up our minds to new possibilities, take risks, and explore the unknown. It also helps us to recognize our strengths and weaknesses so that we can move forward with confidence. Through acceptance, we learn to appreciate the beauty of what is and find peace within ourselves. If you feel called to be more accepting in your life, we offer up these 15 quotes to get you started. May they inspire you to embrace a deeper understanding of the world around you. That's so interesting because the name of the article is 14 quotes. She just said, here's 15. I'm not going to count, but I wonder which it is. Here's the first one. Nothing brings down walls as surely as acceptance. Deepak Chopra. Belonging starts with self-acceptance. Believing that you're enough is what gives you the courage to be authentic. Brené Brown. The first step toward change is awareness. The second step is acceptance. Nathaniel Branden, psychotherapist and writer. Happiness can exist only in acceptance. George Orwell. To be beautiful means to be yourself. You don't need to be accepted by others. You need to accept yourself. Thich Nhat Hanh, the Zen master. Nothing I accept about myself can be used against me to diminish me. Oh, so true. Audre Lorde, writer and activist. The greatest gift that you can give to others is the gift of unconditional love and acceptance. Brian Tracy, motivational speaker. My happiness grows in direct proportion to my acceptance and in inverse proportion to my expectations. Michael J. Fox. Self-acceptance begets acceptance from others, which begets even deeper, more genuine self-acceptance. It can be done, but no one is going to bestow it on you. It is a gift only you can give yourself. Cameron Manheim, actress. You have to accept whatever comes. And the only important thing is that you meet it with courage and with the best that you have to give. Eleanor Roosevelt. If I could define enlightenment briefly, I would say it is the quiet acceptance of what is. Wayne Dyer. Accept, then act. Whatever the present moment contains, accept it as if you had chosen it. Always work with it, not against it. Eckhart Tolle, spiritual teacher and author. Accept yourself, love yourself, and keep moving forward. Roy Bennett, Zimbabwean politician. Much of spiritual life is self-acceptance. Maybe all of it. Jack Kornfield. There's some really nice ones in there, actually. Anything stand out to you?
No, just that how it ties into the communion topic this weekend.
Yeah, the communion topic started as acceptance, and it expanded. Acceptance is the center. The subject on Sunday will be release, acceptance, and co-creation. Subtitle, Release the Past, Accept the Present, Co-create the Future. If you want more on that, join us on Sunday. Okay. We got some questions. So back to Joanne's first. Joanne said, I had a minor medical procedure last week under anesthesia. I noticed that my imaginary friend, the ego, is really active. I wonder if the anesthesia triggered the heightened activity. I told myself this morning that it can talk all it wants, but I'm not going to listen. Well, there you go. I don't know. I mean, whether anesthesia could trigger that is a good question. I'm not an anesthesiologist, so I probably shouldn't address that. I don't know what kind of anesthesia it was and how it might affect people. My sister recently went through major open heart surgery, and she was kind of wacky. Her mind was definitely playing with her in the days after the surgery, and Suzanne pointed out to me that she had read somewhere that it can
told by a nurse.
A nurse said how long it could take, like
2 weeks up to a month for the anesthesia to clear out of your system.
Depending on the person and the anesthesia. So I'm wanting to say yes. I mean, if you're experiencing a change in your mental state after anesthesia, I'm guessing it might have had something to do with it, and you could expect that to wear off as that is purged, detoxed from your system over a period of what might be several weeks even.
It could be too that it just enhanced your awareness of how much the ego is at play, and that maybe you just didn't notice the extent of it before, and so now it's just more obvious because you've had, a little bit more probably quiet time recovering from surgery to contemplate things.
I also, I kind of chuckled when you referred to your ego as your imaginary friend. Okay, nice conversion. But the ego is typically not a great friend. And its sole purpose is self-preservation. Actually, preservation of the mind. There are different ways to define it and look at it, but the one I've liked the best over the years is that the ego is a mental structure, a strategy of the mind to protect and to preserve itself in existence. So having anesthesia and surgery could definitely prick the ego's self-preservation and give it a little juice to run on for a while. And Joanne continues, I still have ego attacks from time to time, but it's very noticeable to me when I do. Right. So, yeah, I keep hearing about people having these strange especially brain fog. Evidently, long COVID, that's one of the most common symptoms of long COVID is that people experience a brain fog that endures for weeks, sometimes months. Eventually, generally, it goes away. But people have shared with me that they found it quite unsettling. When I got COVID last year, second time around, it left me very fatigued and with brain fog that took about a month really to burn through. And I've heard some people say it's taken them longer. It's an interesting relation to chronic fatigue, because one of the symptomology of chronic fatigue is, of course, fatigue and brain fog. And I was reading an article today that medical researchers have discovered a protein that assails the energy centers within cells, which are probably the mitochondria. We're not going to have a biology lesson, but this has been a real issue, these shifts in brain state that have been triggered sometimes by stress, sometimes by chemicals, sometimes by disease. And what I just highly recommend for all of that is meditation, of whatever form works for you, because it loosens the acute grip and attention on the mind and lets us kind of relax and burn through the brain fog in a very natural way.
Well, I think that's very beautiful, Joanne, that that it's become occasional, because most of us in the beginning of the spiritual journey will get little peekaboos about the ego when it comes up. Otherwise, we're just entrapped in it perpetually all day long. And until we've had that feeling, that sense of peace when the ego is not involved or being triggered, and when we can identify that and go to that place where it doesn't affect us and we can just kind of go, okay. And I've referred to my ego as my friend before too. It's like, okay, friend, you're not my enemy, you're part of me, but you can just, I got what you're trying to say, you can be quiet now. Sometimes I've spoken more harshly to it. Shut the blank up. If I'm really gripped in it, it's like I've got to get back into my center. So that's really beautiful that it's occasional now where you can actually see, the ego at play, because the ego pulls in the charges and the program, the emotions, strong emotions. Doing a downfall before it puts its wings open and goes, okay. That was hectic, but we don't have to be in that place. So that's really, really beautiful. Thank you for sharing that with us.
Indeed. And when we get to the point where you could say, you can talk all you want, I'm not listening, it shows that there's a certain detachment from the dialogue that the mind is having with itself. And a lot of energy is wasted in many people's spiritual journey trying to silence the mind. And some of the best meditation teachers today are pointing out, and we point out all the time, you do not have to silence the mind.
Well, you can't.
Because that's what it does. It's the monkey mind. But as we awaken, we transcend all of that mess of thought and words and ideas, and we're sort of watching it from a place of undisturbed distance. And that does show that there's awakening there. And what really does help, it's not enough, but what Suzanne was pointing to, beginning to recognize the games that the ego plays, which is a whole teaching that we sometimes share in processes. There are these classic games that the ego plays, like the ego's got to be right. And next to that, you've got to be wrong. And not only that, the ego needs to be dominating, but it also refuses to be dominated. So there are these dynamics that once you begin to see how the ego does its dance, you can so easily recognize it. And then instead of getting into conflict and struggle, I haven't grown enough that the mind is stopped,
That's just the mind.
That's just the mind. You can just laugh. Yeah. So I sometimes sing the Simon and Garfunkel, "Hello Darkness, My Old Friend." I've come to, So, okay. And bunch more cons. Alrighty. And Jennifer says, "Namaste, Stacy." And Yekaterina says, "Why some spiritual seekers believe that if there's nothing we can do in this world of separation, they believe there is no concept. So why to do anything? Why the effort?" Well, yeah, if it was true there's nothing we can do in this world of separation, then why make any effort? Yeah, which is acquiescence. Acceptance is not surrender to the status quo. It is not acquiescence to injustice and brutality and unkindness and all the stuff going on, that we're invited to accept that it's right there, it's here. But in no way are we accepting it's going to stay that way. We're not acquiescing to it or surrendering to it. So people need hope. I think where we get out of that, there's nothing we can do in this world of duality. Well, we can transcend the world of duality, and then we'll see it from the bird's eye view. But in little baby steps, we can cultivate hope, the possibility of a better tomorrow. And we can sow seeds of hope in people. Okay, well, it seems like with the present situation, nothing can be done. Maybe there's hope that this will transform. As seeds of hope, usually the way we use hope is wishful thinking. Well, I sure hope so. I don't know, but I hope so. But the word translated hope in the scriptures is a certain and confident expectation of good things to come in the future. It's not a I hope so, maybe. It's an absolute confident certainty that there is light at the end of the tunnel, that it's dark tonight, but the sun is coming up. There absolutely is something certain and positive in the future. Once hope has fully taken, a hold in us, that's where faith comes in, because faith grabs hold of that hope, that vision that sees what's coming in the future and pulls it into the present moment. There's a lot more to know and learn about that process, but it begins by having hope.
It does. And if people are living in the world of duality, of course it's going to look like that, because duality is from the mind and the ego. And it's always about division and separation and conflict and chaos. And the more of us that grow into the heart, I know I sound like a broken record, but it's just so true. Once we take hold of that space in the heart, then I've learned a lot from spending so much time with our granddaughter. It's like you wouldn't take a child or a toddler that's learning how to do things and you'd say, I'm not going to help them figure this out, or I'm not going to find a very gentle way to express this because our world is just messed up. So let's just give them a tablet and sit on the couch and do nothing. There's a role for us to play that are awakening and are flowering in the heart to carry forward the experiences that we're having to those that are stuck in duality, those that are stuck in the mind and in the ego. And so, like Joanna said, that she's able to see it more clearly now, and when she's in the ego. And Yekaterina is talking about people saying, there's duality, so why bother? Why do anything in this world that we're living in right now? Because there is a way to transcend that, and we've all had glimmers of it. We've all had that experience. It's a peace that passes all understanding. And when you have those experiences, it begins to grow in you, and like Michael said, then we have hope. And when we have hope, then we make certain actions and certain discernments and certain what's the word I'm looking for, prayer, directives, manifestations of the reality that we want life to be in the future. So yes, we accept that there is duality now, but 2 minutes from now I'm not going to just acquiesce, like Michael said, and sit on the couch and plug in my grandbaby. I'm going to...
Well, thank God Jesus didn't.
Right.
So there's nothing that can be done here.
Right.
We'd still be in the soup.
You guys are a mess. I'm going to go meditate in a cave.
I'm glad Buddha didn't go, there's just no point in this world of duality of doing anything. Once he became enlightened, he could have just left his body and gone into nirvana.
Right.
Which is eventually what he did, but he spent years teaching and sowing seeds of insight. Gandhi, all the great movers and shakers, Martin Luther King Jr., go down the list of world shakers and world changers, and they were looking at like Martin Luther King Jr. at the worst of the divisions, between black and white, between African Americans and white Americans, at a very difficult time in American history, and it was met with violence, with powerful opposition. And he said, "I have a dream." That was the hope. Keep your eyes on the prize and keep going. And there's still a lot more work to be done to break down the walls of prejudice, bias, hatred, and all of that. But we have come a long way.
And the more that other people that are living in duality see that hope, and they see those of us that have transcended even a little tiny bit of duality, and we make actions and we speak words and we do things in our day-to-day lives that actually shine that hope, they shine that smile, they shine that kindness, random acts of kindness. The more of us that start to do that little bits and little bits, the people that used to feel that way until things got super crazy on the planet, start to go, wait, all people aren't bad. Wait, it's not us and them. Wait, that person was just kind to me for no possible reason. And there's a ripple effect to that. So that's another hope that we see, is that there is a ripple effect, and then what we are doing makes a difference. One person can make a difference.
Something keeps gobbling our bandwidth.
Oh.
I wonder which of our householders is maybe using the internet. Morey added Mandela to the list, certainly. You know,
Definitely.
Nelson Mandela, another great example. There are so many, and most of them are unknown. They didn't gain fame. What they did, I mean, the divine saw it, and the people who were touched by their lives saw it, but there's so many that have stood up in the midst of contradiction and division and duality because their consciousness was in oneness.
Right.
And a being, so that's what we can do. We can elevate our consciousness to the perception of the oneness of all that is. And like Suzanne said, then comes spontaneously from the heart. Why make any effort? Actually, we don't need to, because
It's already there.
Oneness
is already there.
I like to use the Chinese word wu wei, it's 2 words, which means not doing. It means there's perfect action happening. The Tai Chi master is moving with such grace and balance, with absolute effortlessly. And so we need to dive deeper and move on.
All right.
But
Were
great
there
questions.
more comments or anything?
Well, Joanne said, I know that I can't wake up without bringing my brother with me. And that's a longer subject that I don't know if you want to share that with the entire group online, but yeah. So, and Joanne said, thanks. And Stacy said, Jennifer. And yes, and yes, acceptance is free. Suzanne doesn't see these bubbles, and so it's like, I don't need to read all
I
of
have
them.
to put my glasses on and squint over the screen.
Fun. Okay, if you would close your eyes and invoke the presence. Invoke the divine presence, who does dwell in its fullness at the center of your spiritual heart. But it's also everywhere. The thing about spirit is it is fully present at every point in space and time. So invoke the presence and open your heart and just begin to drink deeply of the presence that is pouring out to you. Awakening grace, unconditional love, illumination for your spirit, wisdom and insight for your soul, healing for your physical body and for your relationships, transformation. All of this is the work of the divine when we consent and we allow the presence to work in and through us. So just soak it up as the blessing is pouring out to you now. The divine knows exactly what you need, where you hurt, what is needed and required, and how to give it to you, because the divine presence is all-powerful, all-wise, all-knowing, and yearns to free you from suffering, to flood you with light, to dissolve the illusory veils of separation anywhere they occur in your being. The presence will dissolve the blocks, the mental blocks to your awakening. Simply accept the grace that's flowing to you now. Whatever burden, whatever weight you're carrying within yourself tonight, release it. You don't need to say anything, ask anything, just release it and let the divine take it from you. Now imagine us sitting in a circle, a blessing circle, with our eyes closed. Just keep your eyes closed and lift up your hands with your palms open, facing forward. And let us invite the presence to pour the flowering heart blessing through every one of us to all the others in the circle. You can feel it perhaps pouring through you to all those sitting with you in the circle, and it's pouring through them back to you. Just let it be allowed. Now you can relax your hands somewhere in your lap, on your thighs. When you're ready, open your eyes. Begin to make direct eye contact with me and or Suzanne. As we begin the light meditation, Suzanne and I are flooded with oceans of divine grace that pour through every bit of our being to you, especially through our eyes, the doorways of the soul. As you keep looking at least one of our eyes, the light is streaming out of our eyes, in through your eyes, into your heart of hearts, causing the flames of divine love and the light of awakening to burn brighter and brighter and brighter within you. Just keep looking, there's nothing else to do. settles within you. Now keep meditating as long as you like, and or find a place nearby to lie down in Shavasana. It's a yoga pose where you lie on your back comfortably with your eyes closed and your arms loosely at your sides with your palms open, turned upward, and just lie in the presence and dissolve with gratitude. We love you all a lot.
Much love, light, and blessings.
Until we cross paths again, know that the divine within us beholds your divine essence, and we bow to you.